Jai Hind everyone, and today I will be teaching you the first lecture of design and analysis of algorithm, and the topic I will be starting with is the introduction part. So what is an algorithm? You must be aware of the fact that an algorithm is a finite sequence of well-defined instructions to solve a problem or perform a computation. Now what are the characteristics of a good algorithm? A good algorithm has input, outputs, definiteness, finiteness, effectiveness. Uh, a good algorithm has 0 or more inputs, and a good algorithm has at least one output. Now, a good algorithm also has definiteness, which means that an algorithm which is good should be clear and the steps should be unambiguous. Also, a good algorithm should be finite. It means that it should terminate after a finite number of steps, and another characteristic of a good algorithm is effectiveness. Each step can be carried out in a finite time using basic operations. For example, you must have studied in data structure, there is an Euclid's algorithm for GCD, greatest common division. Now, coming to analyze algorithms. The goal of analysis is to determine correctness. Does the algorithm produce the right output for all valid inputs? Efficiency, how much time and space does it require? Optimality, can it be improved further? Types of analysis. Now there are 3 types of analysis that we do in an algorithm, which is worst case analysis, best case analysis, and average case analysis. When we are talking about worst case analysis, we refer to the maximum running time over all inputs of size n, and when we are referring to the best case algorithm, we are referring to the minimum running time over all inputs of size n. Similarly, if we are referring to average case, then we refer to the expected running time over all inputs of size n. Now, performance measures. There are 2 performance measures of an algorithm. There is time complexity and then there is space complexity. Time complexity helps in measuring amount of computation time. Similarly, space complexity helps you measuring the amount of memory used. Now, complexity of algorithms. Definition of complexity is that the measure of the amount of resources, time or space an algorithm uses as a function of input size n is the complexity of algorithm. Now, these are some characteristics of algorithm. Now, there is time complexity and then there is space complexity. When we are talking about time complexity, function t n shows how execution time grows with n, and when we are talking about space complexity, function Sn shows how memory usage grows with n. For example, if you are talking about order of 1 complexity, it is the accessing time of an array element. Binary search has a complexity of order of log n, linear search has a complexity of order of n, merge sort and quick sort average has a complexity of order of n log n, bubble sort and insertion sort both have the time complexity of order of n square. Recursive subset generation has a complexity of order of 2 raised to the power n, and traveling salesman algorithm, which you will study further in this lecture in this subject, is or we can also call it brute force. It has a time complexity of order of factorial n. Now, growth of functions. We use asymptotic notation to describe how functions grow as n tends to infinity. First is big O notation, upper bound of growth rate, Fn equals to order of Gn, means Fn grows at most as fast as Gn up to a constant factor. Second is big omega notation, lower bound of growth rate. As I just told you, big O notation is the upper bound of growth rate and big omega notation is the lower bound of growth rate. Now, Fn is equal, if we say Fn is equals to big omega of function of Gn, it means that Fn grows at least as fast as Gn. Big theta notation is a tight bound. It is both upper and lower. Fn is equals to theta of Gn, means Fn grows at the same rate as Gn. Then comes little o and little w. Now strict bounds grows strictly slower or faster. Now growth rate hierarchy which has to be kept in mind is that order of 1 grows the slowest, then order of log n grows faster than order of 1, then order of n grows faster than order of log n, order of n log n grows faster than order of n square grows faster than the rest of them, order of 2 raised to the power n grows faster than the previous ones, and similarly order of factorial of n grows faster than the previous ones. Then growth of, with the help of this graph, you can see that how a growth of common type complexities happen. For example, on the x-axis we have the input size n, and on the y-axis we have the growth rate. Now pink line suggests order of factorial n. Here you can see the growth, how is it going. Just like I told you, slowest is order of 1. So you can see the blue line, order of 1 is going through this horizontal line. Then you have order of log n, red one line. Then here you can see order of log n is this one. Then order of n. Now order of n is represented by the green line, which is this one. So here you can see this is how the growth is increasing. Here it is this much, then it grows by this, then it grows by this. Then order of n log n is represented by maroon line, which is this one. Here you can see the difference, how is it changing rapidly. Then order of n square is represented by purple line, which is this one. Then order of 2 raised to the power n is represented by the brown line, which is this one. Here the growth you can see, right? Then highest growth rate is of order of factorial n, which is represented by this pink line. See, here is the growth you can see. Now here's the growth curve diagram which shows how different time complexities increase as the input size grows. You can clearly see algorithms with order of 2 raised to the power n or order of n factorial become impractical very quickly compared to order of log n or order of n. Now let's get to know a little bit more about performance measurements. Now performance measurement evaluates how efficiently an algorithm runs in terms of time and space as the input size increases. Now time performance, time complexity measures the execution time of an algorithm as a function of input size n. Expressed using asymptotic notation, it is expressed using asymptotic notation, which are best case is minimum time required, worst case is maximum time required, and average case is expected time over all inputs. Now space complexity measures the memory usage of an algorithm as a function of input size, which includes input storage, temporary variables, and recursion stack if applicable. Now asymptotic analysis has following notations: order of Fn, which means upper bound, and the example is merge sort. The merge sort has a complexity of order of n log n. Then another notation is order of Fn, the meaning of which is lower bound, and example of it is linear search. Linear search has a time complexity of order of 1. Similarly, then comes theta of Fn, which means tight bound. Now binary search can be represented by as a complexity of theta of log n. So here you have order of Fn, which means upper bound, omega of Fn is lower bound, and theta of Fn is tight bound. Now practical performance metrics: execution time measured in milliseconds or seconds, memory usage is measured in bytes or kilobytes, scalability, how performance changes with increasing input, throughput is the number of operations per unit time, latency is the time taken to respond to a single request. These are the practical performance metrics that you have to keep in mind. Now, how can they be helpful for you? Performance metrics measurement helps in comparing algorithms, choosing the most efficient solution, predict behavior for large inputs, optimize code for real-world applications. What are these performance metrics? Although first one is execution time. Execution time is measured in milliseconds or seconds. Memory usage is measured by bytes or kilobytes. Scalability is measured by represents how performance changes with increasing input, and throughput can be defined as a number of operations per unit time. Latency is the time taken to respond to every single request. Now, key performance metrics in algorithms are: number one is execution time. It measures how long an algorithm takes to complete. It is often expressed in milliseconds or seconds. It depends on input size, hardware, and implementation. Second performance metrics is memory usage. Amount of memory consumed during execution. It includes input storage, temporary variables, and recursion stack. Third one is time complexity. Theoretical measure of how runtime grows with input size, double n. It is expressed using big O notation, for example, order of n log n. Then comes space complexity, theoretical measurement of how memory usage grows with input size. It is also expressed using big O notation. Then comes number of operations. It counts basic operation like comparisons, swaps, or additions. It is basically useful for estimating actual workload. Then comes scalability. It describes how well an algorithm handles increasing input sizes. A scalable algorithm maintains reasonable performance as n input size grows. Then throughput, number of tasks or operations completed per unit time. It is important in parallel or distributed systems. Then comes latency. Latency is the time taken to respond to a single request. It is critical in real-time systems and user-facing applications. Then comes the efficiency. Efficiency is a ratio of useful work done to total resources consumed. It helps comparing algorithms with similar complexity but different overheads. Here you can see there are different kind of metrics with their descriptions and examples. For example, if you're talking about the metric execution time, it is the actual time taken to run the algorithm on the machine. For example, a merge sort on 1 million elements may take up to 0.5 seconds. Now, memory usage is another metric, which is the amount of memory consumed during execution. For example, depth first search uses stack memory proportional to depth of recursion. Then comes time complexity. The theoretical growth of runtime with input size is the time complexity. For example, binary search has a time complexity of order of log n. Quicksort has a time complexity of order n log n in the average case. Now, space complexity, as the name suggests, it is a theoretical growth of memory usage with input size. For example, merge sort has a complexity of order of n, including the extra space. In place, quicksort takes order of log n stack space. Now, number of operations count basic operation is a count of operations, basic operations like comparisons or swaps. Bubble sort on n elements has a number of operations n square, comparisons and swaps. Now, scalability explains that how well the algorithm handles increasing input sizes. For example, linear search scales poorly in order of n time. Binary search scales well in order of log n time. Now, what is throughput? Throughput is number of tasks completed per unit time. Hash table lookup can handle thousands of queries per second. Latency is the time taken to respond to a single request. Now, real-time path finding example A must respond within milliseconds. And efficiency is a ratio of useful work to total resources consumed. For example, Dijkstra's algorithm, which is more efficient than Bellman-Ford or for sparse graphs. Now we can assume that merge sort has a good time complexity of order of n log n, but uses extra space. Quick sort is fast and efficient in practice, but worst case time is order of n square. Binary search has an excellent scalability and low latency. Bubble sort has poor efficiency and scalability. Now, sorting and order statistics. Sorting algorithms arrange data in a specific order. It can be either ascending or descending. Order statistics refer to finding the th smallest or largest element in a data set. Shell sort. Let's get to know something about shell sort. Shell sort is an in-place algorithm and it is also comparison based. Now, what do you mean by in-place algorithm? An in-place algorithm is the kind of algorithm where the sorting happens in a given time, given space. You don't need extra space to sort the elements. That is the kind of in-place algorithm. And shell sort is an in-place algorithm, but it uses comparisons, different comparisons. Now, what is the idea behind shell sort is that generalization of insertion sort that allows exchange of far apart elements. What are the steps? It starts with a large gap and reduces it over time. It performs in the first step, what we will do, we will start with a large gap and then reduce it over time. Then we will perform insertion sort for elements at each gap. Now, what is the time complexity? The best case time complexity of shell sort is order of n log n. Worst case time complexity of shell sort is order of n square. It basically depends on the gap sequence. Similarly, if you're talking about the space complexity, this sorting in a shell sort happens in order of one space. Okay, you don't need any extra space. That is why it is also known as the in-place sorting algorithm. Also, the use case is that it is efficient for medium-sized arrays. It is not efficient for, if you have a large size of an array, then you cannot use this kind of algorithm to sort the elements. Now, we have studied so far about shell sort. Similarly, we are going to know about quick sort and heap sort and merge sort. What are the order statistics in these sorting algorithms? But we will be doing this in the next lecture of this topic. So, I will be finishing this lecture from here now, and thank you so much.